Complex twist buggers. Yeah, they're not very complex. They're very simple. I'm going to show you 3 ways that I incorporate that skill into my flies.
That's a big brown.
Okie dokie, check it out. Look what we have here. This is a naked fly. Just a couple like light olive and olive. This is going to be maybe one of my most favoritist flies in the whole dang world, the complex twist bugger. So I'm going to show you how to do this in the most traditional way that I do it, which is just with a piece of chenille and a piece of schlappen. Now keep in mind, yes, you can do it. We're going to get lots of questions of like, can I do it with 2 pieces of chenille? Can I do it with a bunch of different things? Yes. Just keep in mind, if you twist the 2 materials together too much, they will break. So let's just get into it. So here we have kind of a bumpy body. It's not really going to matter all that much on this complex twist bugger because we're going to cover it up and it's really, really bulky. So the name of the game is this. So see down here, I've got this. This is like, it's called Spectrum Glimmer Chenille. There's all kinds of fancy names. What's this fancy name? Super Satin Chenille. Okay, it's super and it's satiny. All right, so why not use it? But these chenilles all have one thing in common, and that's what you need if you're doing this, is it needs to be like longer fibers coming off of one side and a pretty strong core. Okay, so polar chenille like that. You can really twist anything up, but the more bulky it is at its core, the more bulk you're going to have on your fly. So keep that in mind. We're just going to wrap this forward, and I'm going to show you what happens when we take a light color and mix it with a dark color. So I really like this Spectrum Glimmer Chenille, mostly because most of the fibers are just clear, just with a hint of color. Anyway, I've been digging that a lot lately. This is what the brown one looks like, But I'm going to use, this one's called Gray Minnow, I believe. So, we're going to tie this in right back here. Again, we don't have to worry about any bumps back here. This is going to be kind of a rough and tumble type fly. Then we're going to farm out a piece of schlappen. So look at the schlappen, okay? This looks like the world's worst batch of schlappen. This chicken looks like it woke up on the wrong side of the coop every single morning. All right? So, it's fine. This schlappen will lay out perfectly. In fact, I'm going to grab a real ugly one right there. So that one is not looking great. It's seen better days. Well, guess what? I'm just going to preen it down a little bit, find the tip, and I'm going to tie that in. Okay, so now watch this. I'm going to take my thread a little bit forward and I'm just going to tie it in like that, and then I'm going to pull that to length. So now when I start wrapping that feather, see that little tag right there? That just gives me a little bit of room to move. So because we're twisting that up with chenille, that's kind of how I like to tie that in. That part is not critical whatsoever. That's just how I like to do it. Makes her nice and clean fly. So, all right, so those are there. I'm going to take my thread forward, and at this point we're going to choose our tool. This is a cool tool called the Gator Grip tool. A couple things here that make it critical. It's got a big clamp. This is an electrical clip. It's got a hexagonal head so it won't roll off your table. It's got a finger or a hole like this so you can wear it on your wedding ring hand, and it actually has an adjustable or an interchangeable head, so you can just do a shepherd's loop. Anyway, me and a gentleman named old Matt Calise, he's you guys know old Matt, he's a good dude. We kind of came up with this tool. It's called the Gator Grip. So I'm going to use this for the complex twist. Or maybe I'll use this one. This one is called, in Italian, El Coccodrillo, which means crocodile. Nice and original, Stonfo, of you. Yeah, so congrats. Anyway, it's a cooler one. I like this one a lot, too. No beef that you stole our name because you made the tool better. But anyway, it has a bearing on it, and it also turns to the side so you can wrap your complex twisty stuff that way. So let's just get to it. the idea here is I'm going to take both of these pieces, and you see how on this side I'm not doing a lot to make sure that the chenille's all going one way. I'm just going to clamp it and twist it. So let's do it. So the cleanest way to do this, maybe starting out, try it this way. That way you won't have a bunch of stuff twisting around the metal part. But I'm just going to come in here and clamp both of those together. And the more things you're trying to twist up, the harder it is. So you got to make sure you get a nice good clamp. I'm actually going to clamp it right down here. So to keep it nice and clean, I'll just come in here and trim off the excess right now. Get that out of the way. Okay. This is where your finger goes on this thinger. So let your finger rest right here. Okay, I'll probably move it out like this. Okay, you guys can see my finger kind of on screen. And then I'm just going to give it a real easy twist. And I don't want to twist it up too much, right? That's just like 2 moderate twists, and you can see how it just kind of rolls easily on my finger. You can see that some of the fibers and chenille or schlappen are kind of bound up. Not a big deal. So we're just going to grab our comb, whatever comb you like, just this little Stompa one. And I'm just going to kind of go up and down this. This little nice, easy plastic comb isn't going to grab anything and pull it out of there. And then look at that. That is an awesome big old brush, super easy to make. And now what I like to do is I'm going to grab it kind of right here, right where this grabs. This metal situation here is not going to grab this the tightest. So when I'm wrapping this, I like to pinch here, and I'll just wrap this rotary style. And not quite touching turns, spread them out just a little bit more. If you do touching turns on this, it will be a thick, thick fly. So once I get up here, mash a few turns right behind that bead, and then bring your thread under and catch it off a few times. Okay, so once we're here, I'm going to come in here and find those stems and trim them off, and that's what we have of excess. So we did pretty good there. And I'm just going to take my thread and wrap forward. Now, at this point, I'm just going to brush this out. We can show you how to finish the head, but if you just watch the complex twist video, you'll see that all there. So, anyway, that is how to do the standard complex twist. You can do it with 2 hackles in there. You can do it with 2 chenilles. You do the whole bunch of stuff. Just keep in mind, the more stuff you put in it, the thicker it's going to be, and you run into issues there. All right, this is the next style of complex twist that I use a ton, and it's going to be Marabou wrapped with the chenille. Now, when you're doing this part, keep in mind the Marabou stem is really, really fragile, way more fragile than a Schlappen stem. So you have to twist this a little bit more carefully. And once it's all twisted up, it'll be nice and durable, but I'll show you how to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of Marabou like this. I found one with relatively thin stem, and I peel off the fibers on the bottom of that. So it's kind of a pre-prepared piece of Marabou. I'm going to grab the tip of it, and I'm going to moisten the tip like that, and that's how I tie it in. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay that on top. So as you can see, from the top view, that'll just lay really nice right on top of that chenille. And we're good, okay? Let's see how many times I can break this off of here before we get this done. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, the piece of Marabou and my chenille, and I'm going to clamp those 2 together now. Get rid of my chenille. And now, and you can see I'm using the other tool now. This is how I'd use this one. Just use my finger to kind of gradually twist it up. And as you can see, it twisted up a lot down here by the back of the feather. And up here, I might have to grab onto it and kind of force it a little bit. So there we are. If I brush this out now, you can see that I'm getting a pretty cool effect here. A couple more twists up here. I'm going to help it by pinching that core And now I'm going to brush all that out. The thicker it is, the harder it is to use. Okay, so we're pretty good right there. You can see how that makes a really cool brush. You know, the longer and thinner your Marabou stem is, the better. So this is wrapped around so tight that even if it breaks there in the back at the tie-in point, it's almost kind of all just one rope. So I'm going to space this one out quite a bit more because it's so thick. And keep in mind with these complex twist flies, typically I'm going to put like a bruiser blend collar on the front of them. So as I get up to the eye, you can see it's really kind of gnarly up there. So I'm just going to tie that down. And as you can see, it's very messy right now. What's the rule? Only judge a fly after it's been taken off the vise and handed to you as a finished fly. All right, so look at that. Really bad Marabou work there. Watch this. If we just take a comb to this, we're going to brush that back. Okay, and it's going to add so much movement to this fly. So now we've got Marabou palmered all through there with Marabou, or with the chenille. And now on this fly, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Maybe we'll just finish this off for you real quick, just because we have you here. I'm going to do a two-tone color job on this one. This is one way you can do a bruiser blend, like complex twist collar. I'm just going to take a little clump of bruiser blend dubbing, put some on the top. When I tighten this, I'm going to pull it forward into that cone as much as I can, just like that. Really tight, and then I'm going to put some yellow on the bottom. Two-tone, lighter color will be closest to the ground. So that's what we'll do. You can see, more specifics on how to build these heads on the complex twist videos, but we'll just do one right here. That way there's some closure. You can see that this fly actually did turn out kind of cool. All right, so once we have that tied in, we'll just pull both of those back, and we're just going to brush those out now. And some of the stuff will come out, no big deal. We're just going to kind of poof them out, squish them together. It all looks bad until it doesn't. So, all right, so there, kind of give that a little bit of a moistening. We'll throw a quick whip finish on there, and then I will show you what we've got. So if you do a complex twist with Marabou like that, you have a really cool concept, especially you see the back half of this fly has slopping through it, and then as you get up to the front, it's got all this Marabou that's just going to move like crazy. Anyway, if you want to see that fly tie, it's called the articulated complex twist bugger. Okay, this is the final one that we'll show you on this Skill Builder series, but it's done with Ostrich. So I have a smaller hook. This would be for like a scud or a sow bug. I'm going to put just a little piece of wire in it. I used pink for visibility's sake, but who knows, maybe that's what the fish want. So I'm going to tie it in about like that. And then I have farmed off 2 pieces of Ostrich. One chartreuse, one gray. I picked 2 different colors so that you could see what it looks like when you complex twist them together. I'm just going to trim off a flat edge so I can tie those suckers in. No need to tie them in all the way in the front because they are very slim. And we're going to cover up and make a bushy body anyway. So take our thread all the way forward. And then this is as simple as catching these 3 down together. Keep in mind that if you pull on your thread and twist your wire and twist your wire up too much, it will break. And we're just going to grab this. Sometimes with wire, I'll even wrap it around my tool. So at this point, it already tried to slip on me because these are real thin materials. See what I did there? I just took that and I wrapped it all the way around one side of the jaw. Now it won't slip. There you go. So check that out. I've got a really cool brush. Think scuds, sow bugs, damselflies, all that stuff. just with that complex twist technique, okay? So once I have this here, I can just go ahead and wrap that forward. Come up with a fly named a green turd. I think we ought to fish this one, Brig. What do you think? He said yes. Yes. Thanks, Brig. All right, so that, like if you did that with like little light olive and gray, you have an awesome little sow bug pattern. And unlike the Ray Charles, this one is not going to fall apart because it's all twisted up. Anyway, that is a cool way to do it with ostrich.